Hey, welcome back to the Pilot's Mindset, episode 21. 21 days into the 29-day consistency challenge. Honestly, round of applause. We are getting there. We only have 1 week, just 1 week. We've managed to fight for our personal growth for the last 21 days. And that in itself needs to be celebrated. So, once again, round of applause. Since we only have 1 week left, I was thinking that it would be really good if we were to take things up a notch for our last streak to the finish line. So, today's topic is reprogramming our bad habits. Sorry to call them bad habits, but let's say habits that do not serve us anymore. The reason why I'm telling you about this specifically is because yesterday I fell back into my bad habits after filming episode 20. Instead of going to bed, I was absolutely exhausted, to be honest. Instead of going to bed and waking up early in the morning and do what I had to do, well, guess what? I pushed it until late and I ended up having a poor quality night, waking up later than I wanted, and got frustrated all day long. All right, it's okay. Remember, so long as you keep on trying, you have not failed. So, let's make sure that we work on our patterns, the patterns that no longer serve us. We're going to talk about break out of our time-wasting patterns. So first of all, how can we do this? Well, let's talk about the basics. The basics is to identify these specific patterns. We all know we have patterns. The brain is designed in a way that's supposed to help us conserve as much energy as possible, right? The path of least resistance. So the first thing we want to do is we want to identify the patterns that serve us, the one that we want to keep, and the patterns that do not serve us, such as browsing the web for not much pleasure, but just because we feel bored, such as wasting time by watching a bunch of content online. I plead guilty and not learning much or not having much fulfillment or satisfaction out of it. All that kind of stuff. How can we do this? Well, I have an idea. I know it's going to sound a little nerdy, but hey, it's better than nothing. So the idea is the following. And this is a challenge. It's a challenge and a challenge. We are in the 29-day consistency challenge, and we're going to introduce a last challenge in the challenge, which is going to be to track your habits every single day. You're going to take a piece of paper, and at the end of the day, you're going to write quickly what you have done and what was useful and what was a waste of time. And you're going to be brutally honest with your own self, okay? And you're going to put something like plus or minus, something very, very, very simple. Keep it super simple. And what you want to do is you want to identify if your days are in balance or out of balance, because of course you want to sort out the wheat from the chaff. So meaning you want to identify the moments of instant gratification so we're talking about browsing, binge watching, etc., or short-lived pleasure, or long-lasting benefits. These ones are the most precious, and also super important, having fun. And everything has to be in balance, right? At the end of the day, you count the number of minus and the plus, and then you're going to identify which ones are important and which ones are not important. And you're going to determine, was it balanced or was it out of balance? And the question is, how do we manage to change it if we want to? Because you know you can get more out of life than what you were programmed with. And that's the topic. Brain reprogramming, mindset reprogramming, reprogramming your mind. How are we going to accomplish this? Well, first of all, we have to understand that 95% of what we say, 95% of what we do, 95% of the way we act comes from the program. And it makes perfect sense, right? All the conditioning that has been, well, heavily ingrained in our mind is the one that's going to take the lead. And that's super, super critical to understand. And a good example is when you're tired, even if you have the strongest will in the world, you will fall back to the system that you have used the most over the years. You will fall back to the system that constitutes the lowest denominator. So the name of the game is to reprogram that basic software, which is that lowest common denominator. How are we going to do it? Well, there are not hundreds of thousands of solutions, but essentially deconstructing what you have to reconstruct a new one. And one way of doing this is through habits, is through creating a new habit. And the only way to do it is to make it easy, to make it obvious, to make it approachable, and to make it measurable. So a good example of yesterday, what could have I done? I could have identified that I was falling in my previous pattern, and that should have rung the alarm bell and steered me in the right direction, which was going to sleep. So that's the biggest thing. We have to somehow find a way to reprogram our mind. How can we do this? Meditation. I know it sounds very surprising or very intriguing, but guess what? Meditation, when done correctly, allows you to tap into your subconscious. And this is where everything is stored when it comes to automatic programming. So if we manage to reprogram our mind through meditation, we can change our own self. That's how powerful it is. And since our lowest denominator is part of the program, well, guess what? We can also change the lowest denominator. How can we do this? Well, I am going to experiment with you guys. And in my next meditation, I meditate every single morning just after waking up, because the brain is in the intermediate stage, right? It's going to be the following for me. As I'm in my meditation, I am going to start thinking of being tired and what I should do when I'm tired, and reflect on what happened on my personal situation, and reinvent in my mind what happened. And I'm going to repeat this every day, day after day after day after day. So see, now we're starting to tie things together more and more. Yesterday we tied the aviate, navigate, communicate with the mindset, methods, motivation, momentum. Today we are tying the power of meditation that allows you to tap into your subconscious with our lowest denominator, our habits, our heavily programmed, subconsciously driven habits that serve us and do not serve us. Tell me what you think about this technique. Tell me if you're interested in trying this technique with me. Since we have 1 week left, let's be a little experimental. Let's try this. So remember how to get into meditation and select a habit you'd like to change, and use the power of visualization so as to change this habit. Once you've done all this for a week, write in the comments below how things worked out for you, and then we'll talk about it furthermore. That's it for today's episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, keep the blue side up.